Hi, I'm Ron Harrison, Director of Technical Services for Orkin Pest Control. This time of year is when rodents become a problem. And the reason for that is that it's getting colder and they're looking for a place to stay warm. We found out that in the United States, there's some pretty ratty cities. In fact, Chicago's #1, LA's #2, Washington, D.C., New York, San Francisco, and Seattle kind of round out the top 6. But what you look at when you hear that is that rats are everywhere. So the problem is, how can we make sure that they don't become our problem in our homes? What we find out is the first thing you need to do is make sure that there's nothing attracting them to the outside. If you have a garbage can, make sure it's sealed tightly and it's cleaned out. If you use recycling, rinse those things out. Also, if you have dog food, seal it in a container. Just letting it sit out is just the way that the rat's going to notice that it's actually there. On the outside, sometimes we have compost piles that we keep putting material in, and rats are feeding off that as well. So do whatever you can to make sure that rats aren't attracted to the outside. Then the second thing is, if they're running along the side of your house and they feel warmth, particularly as it cools down, they're going to slip inside. In fact, all a mouse needs is a hole the size of a dime to actually fit in. Rats need only the size of a quarter. So if you have those type of gaps, they're going to slip in or start gnawing it a little bit bigger to fit in. If their head can fit in, their body, which is made of cartilage, will be able to fit in as well. The key is, though, is what areas are most important for them to slip into. And we find out that utility penetrations, whether that's an electrical wire or a plumbing pipe or something like that, check those, make sure they're sealed properly, and seal them up. Next, look at your doors. Underneath a door, there may be a gap. Have you got water sealant there or some type of weather stripping? Have you got a door strip? Pay attention to doors and windows. We find that a lot of pests are hanging out in gutters. So check the gutters, clean them out, make sure that's not a source. And then last of all, trees and shrubs that are up next to your home are the highway that pests are actually going to use to get inside. So make sure that, first of all, they're not attracted, and second of all, there's no way that they're actually going to be slipping in. Rodents, it isn't just a nuisance that you hear kind of up in the attic. They actually are disease transmitters. They cause health concerns. One rat can urinate a gallon of pee in a year. They can defecate 50 different droppings in one day. This is a highly contaminated type of a situation. Also, they shed their hairs. So now you've got, particularly in the winter when you're in all day, you've got the hairs being recirculated and you breathing them in. And then we wonder, why am I sneezing? Why do I have an asthma issue? Why are my allergies a problem? Because it's rodent hairs. The other thing that's worrisome is that rats and mice gnaw on things. Outside, they're gnawing on roots and twigs. When they slip in because there was an opening in your house, they have poor eyesight, so they see that wire or that communication device, and they start gnawing on it thinking it's a root or a twig. And bam, now they've caused a fire. So the key is make sure they stay out. Now, if you do get them on the inside, you need to act quickly. You need to have a pest professional like Orkin come in, remove them, and then make sure that your house is sealed up tightly so they can't get in. It isn't just rats and mice, though, this time of year. Other pests also are looking for avenues to come in. We've got box elder bugs and ladybug beetles. Some of the stink bugs, like kudzu bugs and marmorated stink bugs, all are looking for an overwintering site. So once they slip in, you may not know them. They're just going to sit out in your attic. But once it starts to warm up, late winter, early spring, it's too cold outside, but your house feels pretty good to them, so then they move down into the main part of your house. And you can have tens of thousands of these bugs circulating on the inside. It's much easier to keep them out now than it is to try to deal with them later on. There are great resources that can help find out about bugs. If you go to orkin.com, you're going to find out about any bug that you're interested in, tips that you can use to solve the problem, and then last of all, how to get a hold of the Orkin man to come out and solve any problem that you actually have.